Well, welcome back to Design and Organize. And of course, Felicia and I are here again. We are excited just about some of the responses and comments from the Transform Your Bedroom. Now we're moving to the kitchen for function and flair on a budget. It's a nice little ring to it.
Yeah.
So, for those of you, for those of you who may be watching this for the very first time, my name is Janet Taylor. I'm a life organizer, but I also have a podcast, Got Clutter Get Organized, and I am joined with the wonderful Felicia Wallace Benton, who is an interior designer. And Felicia, will share a little bit about what she is and how she just kind of transforms spaces with all her gifts and talents.
Hello, everyone. I'm Felicia Osmond, owner of Designing Your Vision. We're an interior design company. I'm an interior designer that brings your visions to life. That is my goal. And I work with small projects, anything big like a reorganization, but I help to actually bring whatever you envision to the space into the space so you can have what you dream in your home. So that's what I do.
So, last time we talked about the bedroom because we felt that was an important subject to kind of kick off. But now we're moving to the kitchen because a lot of people, new year, they've got these new health goals. So this is a great time to really kind of look at that space and not only make sure that it's organized, but really it has the look and feel that you as well as your family wants. And of course, from my perspective, of course, when we're talking about the kitchen, the first thing I'm talking about is just getting rid of stuff, getting rid of the expired stuff, and not only the expired stuff, sometimes we acquire over years different appliances.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
we're not even using them anymore. I mean, Felicia, recently I had a stone pan, and it's beautiful, beautiful stone pan. But every time I picked the thing up, it was like, this thing is a little heavy. And plus, it was a little awkward to clean. And I'm like, and I've had it at least 5 years. And I'm just sharing my thing. I had it 5 years. I may have cooked in it twice
Oh,
because,
wow.
yeah. And so I said, you know what? It's practically brand new. It's time for me just to donate it. But not only things like that, but also maybe you don't entertain like you used to. Maybe you just, in the beginning, when you started your family, you had all the appliances, you were baking bread, this, that, and the other. Now, you don't do that. So that is what I always tell people is to just, get rid of those things that they're no longer using in order to make their kitchen function.
Yes. And that's one thing that's key. I mean, those people that I deal with that want to redo their kitchen, I'm like, unless you're really going to you have the funds where you can really revamp, let's just go and see what we can do within your spending plan. And that automatically deflates their mood because they're thinking like, oh, I'm not going to get my dream kitchen. And 90.9 well, actually 99% of the time, yeah, you're going to get what you want. It's just a matter of working outside the box. And once you declutter, you can see like, okay, maybe I don't need new cabinet space, so now I can work at this area to do this, or I can put in a nice little seating area where my kids can do their homework. So there are different ways that you can look at your kitchen so it can operate the way that you want it to operate. I've had clients that lived in apartments. They're just trying to get ideas. I just walk in and give them ideas as to what they can do. And it's 99% of the time just taking stuff off the counter, unless you have like a microwave or something that you need. But that just opens up space. Like there's so many different ways that you can store things, that you can put things. Once you clean out your cabinets, and you can utilize that counter space, which is like retail real estate. Like it's just prime real estate because you're going to need to do that to do your prep and stuff like that. So people do have to take the time, no matter what you're doing, whether it's a big renovation, you're getting the whole thing knocked down and torn out and redone. You have to sit down and think how you're going to use the kitchen.
That's true. Yeah,
And most people are like, okay, I'm just going to cook in it. But there's more that you do. Like, do you socialize in it? Do you want to socialize in it? Do you want your family to come and sit in it? I mean, because your kitchen is your hub. Like most people, they're not utilizing their dining rooms anymore. They're entertaining in your kitchen. Where you cook, everybody else is kind of gathering and they're sitting around, you're talking, you're eating. It's just that camaraderie that you guys are doing, no longer just in the dining room, but in the kitchen. And you need to have that space for everybody to sit and eat. And if you can have it, then why don't we just build it? But I just need to know, like, how do you use your kitchen now? And also how do you want to? But how are you using it now? How is it like not working for you?
Mm,
But let's get it to work for you.
mm. And I
Yeah.
like that because it kind of, talks about zones, because that's one of the
Yes.
things, you should have zones, and zones really help you a lot of times staying organized, staying on top of things. Because if you know where everything is, and you're not specifically sometimes with the pantry, you're not overbuying, but even some with dishes and all the other utensils that we have. I remember one time I was helping somebody move, so we were going through all the things. They wound up with 5 sets of steak knives, Felicia, 5 sets, because they could never find the ones they needed when they wanted to, use them. So creating those zones in your drawers and your cabinets and all those areas kind of helps you find things the first time you look. So those are one of the things that when I'm talking about the kitchen is function zones.
Yes, and zones are key because you can definitely create zones not just for you, but also for your kids too as well. And
Mhm.
think about it, when you develop that routine, they know this is where I go to get this. That helps for your morning routine. It just helps you to run like butter, just nice and smooth. Like it, and people, they really don't realize it until it's after it's all said and done. They're like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." Yes.
Mhm.
This is how you're supposed to live.
Mhm. Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know, um, and I don't think most people are aware of that. Like they're just so used to just digging through whatever they have and trying to get through. But if you create like a zone, a certain place for everything, then that definitely helps. Ironically, when we design kitchens, there is what we call like a triangle. And this helps everybody to function. So anybody who's out there as a designer knows this. Like your sink should be a certain triangle portion to your fridge, and your fridge to your stove. So that triangle is supposed to help you function, because when you think about it, you're using all three when you operate in a kitchen. So most people, I've noticed, if they have a poorly designed kitchen, that's going to really help to make it very difficult to create those zones, because you can have an area to prep, you can have an area to wash, you can have an area to cook, and then you're all in within the same proximity of what you need. So it's like you're just working without any effort, like less effort. So that's one thing that I keep in mind when I design. And then also, like, if you have small kids, you want your small kids, and maybe we can create a little zone for them to be, so they can help you prep and cook, but they're not necessarily in your way or near something where it's hot. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that I do. Like, do your teenage kids come in here and talk to you, gossip, do whatever, do their homework in the kitchen?
Mhm.
Maybe we can create a space for them
Mhm.
to sit, so you can still do what you need to do, and even they can come in and help. So that's what I bring to the table, to help people when
Mhm.
they're doing
Mhm.
this. And
Mhm.
it's amazing that they think that they need to totally redesign it, and that's not the case. It's just like you said, creating those zones and decluttering. And once we have that done, we can sit back and say, like, okay, your cabinets are in good shape. Maybe we don't have to replace your cabinet.
Mhm.
Maybe
Mhm.
we just, we don't have to change the layout. We just did a lot right here. Now we can use this area over here that's not cluttered with like a kitchen table full of stuff, and we can use this to zone for a
Mhm.
certain activity. You
Mhm.
see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And
where I
you
come.
and you're right, Felicia, because has become a hub, and it is a hub. It's probably always
Hmm.
been a hub. We just never called it a hub. I mean, it reminded me of when I spent time with my best friend and her family for Thanksgiving, and she was prepping for Thanksgiving. And I was able to just kind of sit by her while she was chopping onions and vegetables and all that kind of stuff. And we were just kind of catching up and chatting. I mean, those onions were so strong, Felicia. I was crying. We're both crying, and she's the one that's chopping the onions. But yeah, but she was there. And then my goddaughter, her daughter was also in that area, and she was kind of doing a dish. And it was just really nice. And like you said, it has become the hub. But also, I think it's important, depending on what type of space you have, especially a small space or any space, is having containers with a purpose.
Yes.
Clear containers, specifically when you're talking in the kitchen, they work better because at least you can see, okay, I'm low on my rice, my pasta, or the cereal, whatever. And also containers now, you can almost incorporate them with the whole design of the
Into
kitchen.
your decor, right?
Yes, because it's depending on the colors and the textures and everything. So, but also it reduces food waste and it saves you money. So then okay, this is my pasta. I'm getting low. Maybe I need to, okay, the pasta's been here for a while. Maybe it's time for us to make some spaghetti. So those kind of things.
And you know what? It's funny you should say that because my mom, even though it was just her and my father, for the
Mm-hmm.
longest shopped at Sam's. I'm like, why? It's just the two of you guys. Like, the stuff can go to waste. But once we started putting stuff in those clear containers, it was a lot easy for my mom to see, like, okay, I do have enough, like you said, pasta or rice or whatever. I don't need to go and buy another 3-pound bag.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps you to save money. And a lot of people with small kids, it's easy for them to access and they know what they're getting instead of pulling out the box. God forbid if anything happens to the box, like if it gets torn or whatever. So it just helps with messes and everything. And then with storage, so sometimes food gets stuck in the back of the cabinet, which can definitely attract certain things. So with your plastic containers, you don't have to worry about that. So stuff that kind of lasts like for, I don't know, for a while, and you push to the back of your cabinet, you can definitely feel safe doing that without having it to be accessed. I also have some clients in which I dedicate a certain cabinet for cat food, dog food, and stuff like that. So they know this is where we go for the dog. It's not impinging upon what they need to keep, and it's also away from anything that might hurt or harm their pet, but it's easy for them to store out of the way, so it's not like out in the kitchen, so it helps them to keep their place nice and neat and clean.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the smaller the space, the more you need to do that, because it definitely helps to keep it decluttered. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then also, I just wanted to piggyback off you, Felicia, is when you do have a small space, and I understand we all want to save money, but sometimes bulk just does not work when you
Yeah.
have a small space. And I learned from my own personal experience, I would buy those huge bulk packages of paper towels, trying to figure out where they would go and realize I still shop somewhat in bulk. I buy the 6-pack because the 6-pack can actually fit in the closet without me having to try to figure out things. And then also, knowing what you can and cannot consume. Yes, we all would like to save money. We all see those big packs and like, oh, that's really going to save us money. But are you going to consume it by the time that it expires? So think about that as well when you're thinking about your kitchen. And like Felicia said, when we're talking about small spaces, real estate is really kind of prime real estate, knowing
Yes.
what to put, where to put, whether it's appliances or whether it's just your food items. So think about that as well. But also, sometimes one of the things is interesting, and I don't know how it happens, but it's always that junk drawer in the kitchen. I don't know. I know how it happens. I know because what happens, you hear a doorbell, somebody's coming. You just take the arm and you just kind of just put everything in the drawer so your countertops look good. But give every drawer a function. You got your utensils, maybe you've got, your bakeware, you got your knives, give that drawer a purpose. It could be just for, pens, pencils. There's still people who, mail things out, paper clips. It could be like a stationary drawer. Of course, if you have other things, then that should be in another place, those chargers and all that other stuff. But, just give every drawer a purpose and then you can kind of eliminate that. And then also just kind of take time. You have gotten a beautiful kitchen designed. And now you just want to be able to, and I understand with schedules, you can't always just do that every night. But, personally, even if you just take a few minutes every night, just when you take something out, put it back. Or, you need to clean something out, sweep the floor, do whatever. It only takes a few minutes, and by the end of the week, when it's that weekend, you don't have to worry about, oh, I gotta do all of this just to bring everything together. So,
But
think,
what I kind of tell my clients is, okay, growing up, we had what we call a telephone drawer because we had the cordless, but not
yeah,
cord phone,
yeah,
and you had a drawer where you kept like your pens, your pencils, and notebooks and stuff like that, so you could write stuff down. Nowadays, people don't have a telephone drawer. So they what I do if they're remodeling their kitchen, I suggest like a drawer where you can it's like a almost electrical drawer that has like places where you could charge your phone, you can recharge stuff, you could plug stuff in. That is primary, and that's where you put your stuff in. A drawer off to the side where you can definitely put like your pens, your pencils, whatever else you need in here. Another thing I recommend, whether you're revamping your kitchen, remodeling or not, is to have a home for everything. Because if you have a small space, it's always a lot easier to clean up where you know where everything goes. Think about it. If you just doing it, it's like you're not even thinking about it. You're just putting it where once you get in the habit, you're just putting it where it needs to go. Makes your life a whole lot easier, especially when you have kids and small kids, because 99% of the time it's not always a perfect day. So you're kind of trying to rush and beat the time. So if everything had its home, you can come home, you could just pull stuff out while you're trying to take care of whatever it is, the dog, the kids, or whatever. And next thing you got dinner cooked, and you're helping Susie with her homework. So it's that to me is how somebody should live. It shouldn't have to be where is this, where is that, how can I fix this? It's anything that can make your life easier, and help you to spend more of that quality time the way that you want to spend it. That's ideal, and that's how you can design your space. I mean, nowadays with technology, it's like a no-brainer. You have that option. And that's why I tell them, sit down. It takes some time. This is where you have to do your homework on the front end. Sit down and decide what you want. And if you put your money towards that or put your time towards that, at the end, you're going to get that back and then some. So
mm-hmm.
that's what I try to tell them to do.
Yeah. And that is true. It is just really creating, again, a space that works for you and your
Right.
family.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I love just being able just to sit by her while she's prepping. I like that. And of course, I know she enjoyed it as well. But, thinking about those things, or is it homework? And I just wanted to mention when you talked about the dog food and the pet food, etc. This is a great time to go in those pantries and just really, and I know people sometimes can get a little overwhelmed, but sometimes you need to just pull everything out. You need to pull everything out, see what's been expired. If for some reason you bought dog food that's still good, but for some reason the dog or the cat, they're just like, you know what, I just don't like the taste of it. Why not just donate that to an animal shelter? Don't throw it out. But the same sometimes, even with food, if it hasn't expired, nobody else in the family wants to eat it, just don't eat it. But think about what's important to you. Is my kitchen helping me work? But also, is my kitchen helping me live healthy? Felicia talked about thinking about what we really need on our countertops. Are you now in a place where you like to drink smoothies and juice in the morning? Well, maybe you need to have a designated spot for that, the coffee, whatever. Mm-hmm. So think about those things.
Yeah. And nowadays, like you can dedicate a certain spot. It's very easy to do like a cafe center, which I've done, even the smallest settings, like just with like a Keurig and a couple of mugs. Again, it's just all about organizing. Again, in some bigger kitchens, I've even dedicated like a teen corner. So if your kid, like this helps with people who play sports a lot. They're coming home with some of their other friends and they want to snack or whatever. They have a place where they can go to grab their snacks or their sodas or whatever. In the summer, you can use it to make smoothies or frosties or whatever thing you want to make for the kids. It's like their own little center, and that's something, again, it just helps you to function, but it's not just you, it's the whole family. to function and to enjoy the space. And that's what your home should be, a place where you enjoy living in. And these little tidbits are just, they're just going to help you. And once you declutter the space, like Janet suggested, and go in there and figure out what you need, what you don't need, getting rid of, like, say, that big bag of dog food, now you have space for something else. It's just amazing how some people really don't realize it until after it's done, and they're like, oh my gosh, I have space now for coloring books for my grandkid. If she comes over, I could just pull one out and she can sit here and color or do whatever while I'm cooking. It's just amazing how some people really don't realize how they, if once they get rid of stuff that they don't need, how they just get magically create this space instead of having to buy something new. And I know I'm a luxury item, but we both are.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's the tips that we come with may come with a price, but it's something that at the end of the day, like I said, you're going to get back and then some, because we're going to help you to live your life to the most fulfillment that you can do, and use the most of your space. And that's what we do.
And that's so true. That is so true. But you know what, Felicia, when you start talking about the teen space and this space, my best friend has a snack table. And that's one of the things when I'm spending time with her, I know exactly where it is. It's just right there. And it's all the pretzels and the popcorns and the this and that. And it's really nice because as a guest, you could just go over there whenever you feel like it and just grab a snack. You don't have to go in a cabinet or pantry. It's just there.
It's just there for you to.
It's just there.
It's like, think about it. When you go to a hotel, say it has a suite, what do you have? You have a place where you can grab your snacks. Of course, you have to pay for it, but they're all right there. Yeah. You can just go. You can incorporate the same thing in your home.
Yeah.
And so like you said, you're a guest, and they say, oh yeah, you could just go ahead and grab it whenever. You don't feel like you're impinging upon their space. You don't feel like you're like violating their privacy, because I don't want to go into everybody's cabinet, but I just go into the pantry.
Yeah.
I've given that ideas to some of my family members, and they're like, "Oh, this is great."
I mean, I just thought about that when you were talking. I'm like, yeah, she's got the snack table, she's got the waters, and then she's even have like some sodas over there if you want them. It's just wonderful. And then when you might be just lounging around, oh, I want some crackers, or I want this, I want that, and it just makes it. It's like, it's like hotel. I'll have to tell her that. I'm like, you just created. That's why people love hanging out with you and spending a week. That's what it is. That's what it is. Well, I hope you have enjoyed our conversation. Again, if you got questions, comments, please list them below. And of course, make sure you check all the links so you can connect with Felicia directly, follow her on her YouTube channel. You can connect with me. You can really utilize our services, because this is a great time. This is a great time to just kind of do a reset and just kind of move forward with the space, whether it's organized or just designed the way you want. So thank you so much for joining us. And of course, stay tuned for more of these conversations.